listen up, we're going to look at some heavy duty theory for the blues. What's going on with the blues? Okay, so if you look at ordinary conventional music theory, in the key of E, you'd have three main chords. E major, which is the one chord, or the tonic, or root. A major, which is the 4 chord, or the subdominant. And B major, which is the dominant chord, or the 5. So you've got 1, 4 and 5, or tonic, subdominant, dominant. They're the three main chords in the key. And if you analyse the individual notes within those three chords, and put them all together, you'll find you have a scale of E major. So that's kind of how it works. Now if we look at blues theory, putting together a theory for how blues music works, what you can do is, instead of having a root major chord, you have a root 7th chord, so E7, A7 and B7. So it's the same three chords, but they're all what we call dominant 7ths. Okay, so that's E7, A7 and B7. And if you take all the notes from those three chords and put them all together, you don't get really a scale because there's too many notes to make a scale, but you do get the notes that you need to play blues music. Okay, so let's look at those notes now. We've got E, obviously, F sharp, and we've got G, and we've got G sharp, and we've got A, and we've got B, we've got C sharp, we've got D, and we've got D sharp. Then we're back to E again. So obviously way too many notes to make what we conventionally would call a scale, but they are the notes that you need to know to play blues music with. So basically you cannot play blues by just learning a scale. You have to learn how to use these notes and fit them together into a blues style, which is quite complicated. Okay, so if we look at the chord of E, for instance, I can play a major style blues on that by adding a G sharp melody note. Yeah, or I could play a much more minor style of blues by having an E major chord but with a G note on the melody, something like that. So there are different styles of blues where some is more majory and some is more minory, but whether it's majory or minory, proper blues music, the underlying chords are always major. Part of the essence of blues is the feeling of a minor above a major. Okay, proper blues music is the music that I grew up learning, and it's by people like Howlin' Wolf, John Lee Hooker, Muddy Waters, Mississippi John Hurt, Sonny Terry, Brownie McGhee, Robert Johnson. People like that, they're the true blues, the people that made the music. That's what I mean by true blues music. Okay, on lesson sites all over the web and books everywhere, you'll see this thing called the blues scale. It goes like this. In other words, it's a minor pentatonic with the addition of a flat 5 note. This flat 5 note here, B flat. Okay, so that's the blues scale. That's all you need to play blues, surely. It's called the blues scale. You think it must be the scale you use to play blues music with. Wrong, 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 wrong. Absolutely wrong. The blues scale is nothing to do with true blues music whatsoever. So if you want to learn to play blues, one thing you don't need is the blues scale. Okay, I'm going to go into more detail later about what the blues scale actually is. But for the moment, just if you want to play real blues, you do not need the blues scale. What you need is an ordinary minor pentatonic scale and a major pentatonic scale, which you need would be by mixing those two together, you can find the notes you need to play blues music. But you can't really just learn one scale and expect to play blues. It's not as easy as that, unfortunately. But if you could just learn one scale, it wouldn't be the blues scale. Okay, so I do use this B flat note when I'm improvising. But then I use a lot of notes. You can use almost any note as what we call a passing note. But it's not a main scale note. I could use a C note, say, as well, like this. I'm going from E. So I'm going from E to A7, and I've used a C note as a passing note. But I'm in C note, that's not in the blues scale, is it? So I say any note can be a passing note, but that doesn't mean anything really. It's just the notes you can use to make up true blues. You've got to learn those, you know, you can't just learn a scale and think, oh, this is it. So there I'm using that B flat note as a passing note. When I'm doing that, I'm not considering myself to be playing the blues scale in any shape or form. So again, I use the B flat note as a passing note going down to an A. But again, I'm not using the blues scale.